Our next guest is Daisy Chute, an artist that has been on the TALENTBANQ roster for some time and indeed has been presented on various stages, including a simply wonderful night at the Green Note in Camden. Daisy recently was involved in a very exciting experience for us because during the lockdown, we opened an office in Beijing, in China. And Daisy was one of the first artists to live stream from London into a little bookshop in Beijing. But before we go to that, I want to ask Daisy, I called you during the lockdown and you told me that if things were meant to have quietened down, you didn't get the memo. Tell us about what lockdown has been like for you.
Thank you, Ray. Yes, that is correct. I tend to run on 100 or 0, nothing in between. So yeah, no, for lockdown, it was, as soon as I got the news, obviously my whole diary, everything changed, and I had all these gigs that I had booked and planned to do, including festivals in the summer and a whole run at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival even, and that all suddenly disappeared. And so, well, it wasn't sudden, of course, it was gradual as we realised more and more things weren't going to happen, like Glastonbury and Edinburgh Fringe, etc. And so, yeah, it was a bit of a shift. And in my usual Daisy way, as my fans have started calling it, I decided to go and make myself busy elsewhere. So I started doing live streams with a vengeance. And so I've been doing 2 live streams a week on average for the past 6-7 months now. But sometimes I've been doing more. So one week I had 13 live streams in a week, which is insane because you think I can't do 13 gigs in a week. So I guess this is the advantage of the live stream model.
I do remember, Daisy, we had the pleasure of putting you on. Really, I think just after the lockdown finished, you came and played a live set for us at Eccleston Yards, and you
Yes.
certainly have your own fan club because lots of photographers turned up and various people came to see you. And
Despite the rain.
Yeah, despite the rain, indeed. But I do remember as you were leaving Eccleston Yards that day, everybody was saying to you, "I'll see you online this evening."
That's right. Yeah, I've been trying to do a bit of a hybrid now. So I've been doing some live gigs whenever I can, and also the live streams as much as I can. I've kept up with the Sunday nights. And so we had the slot on Sunday afternoon, and I had to race back home and get there in time to do the set and online. And it's very sweet that the people came to both the gig and also the live stream.
Well, I have actually tuned in, as you know, to a few of your live streams, and one of the things I've enjoyed particularly, and I don't know if you did this under the Herd Collective umbrella or if it was just you and Carrie Ann or other musicians that you know, but one of the things I rather enjoyed is that you did a beer tasting or a drink tasting session during your live streams. How did that all come about?
Oh gosh, how did that come about? I'm not sure how it began, but we were thinking, well, let's make it a bit more interesting. So the Herd Collective is, I think, is where it all began, to be honest. So the Herd Collective is the female collective I run with Carrie Ann, who's another artist, and she and I have been inviting different guests every week, and so we're doing music as part of it, but it's also quite a lot of chat, and we wanted to try and to maybe put a few things in there, a few segments. So we have quick fire round questions where we kind of get to know the guests a bit better. And then we have drinks reviews where we get people to taste whatever they're drinking, whatever they happen to be drinking and tell us about it and whether they like it. And then we started doing this very strange thing where we add a gesture as well. So people give it a rating out of 10, and then they do some sort of hand gesture that makes them think of the drink or whatever. And it's a bit of a fun. Actually, we've added a new segment as of last night, which is live drawing. So
Wow.
Now I had my phone set up recording my notebook drawing.
Daisy, we will all tune in and be ready for live drawing with Daisy Chute. I do want you to know that since lockdown, one of the wettest nights I have experienced was driving across to South London to see you and Rebecca perform a piece of gig theatre, which I believe is sort of in its early stages at the moment, called Coven.
That's right.
Just tell us a little bit about that and your direction of travel with that show.
Sure. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, first, Ray, for coming all that way in the rain, despite, not knowing whether it was going to even go on at that point because it was so rainy. It was thundering and storming, and it was an outdoor gig because, of course, that was the whole point of the festival. We didn't want to be unsafe, and so it made sense to do it outside. And you think in August it would be okay, but apparently not. The Great British Summer. So yeah, so Coven is a gig theatre show about witches, as you might be able to guess by the name, and it's written by Rebecca Brewer and myself, and we have been working on it on and off for the past couple of years, but we've only kind of given it the first performance this year, and we had planned to go to Edinburgh Fringe, and we had planned to go to all these festivals and then do a little tour around this time, but we obviously were curtailed, but we managed to find other ways of putting it on, and so that the show you came to was maybe the second ever time we've performed it.
Well, I'm going to give it a one-man 5-star review. It was absolutely superb, and if it gets to Edinburgh next year, I will be jumping on the train and I will be in your audience once more. But
thank you, Ray.
What I do want to ask you about, because I am intrigued, as I said in the introduction, we have now appointed a representative for TALENTBANQ in China, and you participated in our first ever live stream from London to Beijing. Can you just tell us a little bit about what that experience was like?
Sure. Thank you, Ray, for asking. Yeah, thank you also for getting me the gig in China, my first gig in China.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was it was really cool. Everybody was very supportive, and it was actually, I didn't quite realize how interactive it would be because I did my songs and then people asked questions about like my banjo, and they wanted to know a little bit more about the writing of the songs, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is a bit like almost like a discussion as well. So that was I liked that format, and it was really lovely. I said it's my first gig in China. I did actually tour to China as part of a theatre show, and so I had a kind of fun experience of going to Beijing in person as part of this theatre show, but that was a very different thing to performing my own music. So it was it was really lovely, and it was really nice atmosphere in the bookshop, and I was obviously performing alongside a couple of other artists from TALENTBANQ. And I think that they really enjoyed the music. They seem to.
I'm going to say, Daisy, that is quite an elegant way to finish this interview, because our direction of travel, as far as China is concerned, one would hope that in 2021, what you did as a live stream, we may actually do live on stage. We currently have invitations to Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen, and I do hope we can make that happen. So,
absolutely.
Daisy, thank you for being with us today on Soho Radio. We'll look forward to tuning in. We'll look forward to some live drawing, and I certainly thank you for being with us and wish you every success. Thank you, Daisy.
Thank you, Ray.